Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dogcast, episode 5. We've got a massive treat for you today. We've got the King of Leeds himself, or self-proclaimed. Anyway, we've got JJB. How are we doing, pal?
I'm really good, Brad. Really sustained, mate, and happy it's sun shining. And a bit like Connie, I see positives in most things, but I've got to preface it by saying I fully understand a lot of the stress and anxiety and the pain that people are going through, and it's a difficult time. It's a time in history that we'll look back on for many years for all the wrong reasons. But I'm always one to look positive in things, and I think at the end of it there'll be a lot of unexpected outcomes, and relay some stories of how it's turned people's lives around for the better as well. So whilst I'm mindful of the people that are working hard and try to get this as comfortable as we can for this nation, I'm really good, mate. I'm really good. My family's fantastic. I live here with my wife and 4 boys, and I'm the Baron of Bramley, mate. That's as far as it goes. So here in Bramley, in my little corner at Bramley, I've got a nice little sun trap, still supporting Leeds on old no-stand chairs. So lots of memories, nostalgia, and lots of good things to look forward to, mate.
Yeah, we've got some memories from that background, mate, but we'll go into that later on when we speak about that. Just speaking about the positivity that you're getting, and obviously that's your way of dealing with most things, and how I've gone about it is really focusing on gratitude. Really, I think it's a perfect opportunity. With everyone's going to be going through a tough period at this point, and just trying to focus on what I'm grateful for, and having a look at other people in different situations and how they're struggling and what they've got to deal with, who's probably a bit more worse off than me. So that's how I've been dealing, but I've still been struggling. Just without the lack of routine, really kills me, or a reason to get up. So my point of view is I've really struggled in the morning. The only point I've struggled is getting up in the morning, because I think, well, I might as well sleep through most of the day and then try and keep myself busy for the rest of the day. So I had to drag myself up out of bed to go and run my dog.
Mate, I've got a wife who tells me to get out of bed, mate. Tells me where I need to be and what I need to do. So I'm still institutionalised in that regard. But she's also my best mate as well, and being at home has given me, and listen, we're talking about gratitude, it's not lost on me how fortunate I am to have Emma, my wife, and my boys as well, because my marriage is the most single important thing. You know, whether you win or lose your game on a Friday night, you get back home and it's unconditional loving it around home. But I was going to ask you, mate, I remember when there was this notion that we might have to spend a little bit of time in isolation. I remember being at changing rooms and looking at your face, and you went drip white, and you almost had as much fear and anxiety about being isolated as you did catching the virus itself. So how have you coped? What have you found like out in inside yourself in this last couple of weeks?
Well, I'm glad you said that. That day I was awful. I remember Rich coming up to it. Rich pulled me that day. It was team run. We didn't know whether we was playing the day after. We'd all spoke about it, and I wasn't myself and stuff like that. And that's the exact thing that it was. It was the fear of being isolated. I didn't know what was going to be coming from me. It was just that lack of routine. It knocked me for 6. But that's because of past experiences of what I've been through in the past, and isolating myself when I weren't doing too great in myself. I just shut myself away and lounged about, lied in bed on my phone. So that fear that I had from past experience probably threw me into preparing for it. We were still probably a couple of weeks off, probably about 10 days before that we actually got the lockdown. So my dog's off of me. I've dragged him around the lake again today. He's done 5k run with me. He's asleep at the side of me now. So yeah, Bruce is not happy with me. He's been out every day. So that's one of the main things that I've done. Like I said, the gratitude, and that created the podcast. Phil saw that reaction that you saw, and he said, "I've got this new technology, great idea. Use your personality, keep yourself busy." And that's where most of my time has been, trying to figure out questions to ask people like you, and we've got on, and you're asking me questions. So,
well, it's funny, it's poignant, it's quite apt actually, Brad, because I remember back in about 2007, Phil Daly came up to me and said, "Do you want to start writing a bit of a blog on Leeds Rhinos website?" And it was like 300 words a week, and I used to get some mad anxiety. What can I write about this week? And I'm not a funny guy. I'm not like Conrad Earl, who's a really funny, amusing guy. I'm just a bit quirky at times and think a little bit different, and that's how it started for me. And then that evolved into speaking, and then going on making Rugby M and other TV shows, and just trying to give back and evangelise a great game of rugby league. And without being condescending, I think like one of the positive outcomes I'm already seeing is the great job that you've done with Connie and Rich Agar, And like we've had conversations before at changing rooms about you having your own little section. I think you've got a personality and a gift that everybody'd want to hear from in rugby league. So, you know, if what comes out of this is you continue to interview people and you're that next generation, that's classic. That's one great example of an outcome that's been positive from an horrendous time.
Yeah, don't say that to me, Jonesy, because if you're telling me I'm going to be turning into you. I've been growing my beard. I've not shaved for 2 weeks. Someone's dominated it, shaved me head. Everyone's shaving the rest of it. So, fact I could be a young Jamie Jones-Buchanan, mate. So don't say that. What about last night? I don't know what it was like for you. 8 o'clock last night, everyone showed appreciation to the NHS. And I just think it was a massively significant moment. I'm on an estate, so there's quite a few out on that estate, and watching videos back of Manchester and Leeds and places like that, it was just one of them you think I'm pretty fortunate, no matter how bad this is going on. It's pretty unique, the moment of everyone coming together, and it just felt a special moment last night. What, you and your boys and your family were out, weren't they?
Yeah, we all got out, and we gave our own gratitude to what that group of people in the NHS and on the front line, and the builders who are building an infrastructure and a resource for us to combat it again. Just showing our gratitude is a really easy thing to do, yet real poignant and important thing to do. But I think that just shows the best of the British people. We can come together. We talk a lot about that in rugby league, don't we? When there's a bit of adversity, no matter how tribal and parochial those little northerners can be at times, particularly in rugby league, we have this ability to come together and fight through difficult times. And then, of course, when we get back into I always describe it as cowboys and Indians. We go out and fight the Indians together, then get back to the pub there and start knocking 10 bells out of each other. But it was a really important thing to do, and it's great that so many players obviously stood up and recorded themselves doing that. So well done to everybody.
Yeah. Right, let's get into the main question that I wanted to ask.
Yes.
And mainly because I don't know if you will have seen a change in me, but there is. I'm probably at that period in my life, when I came to these 24, 25, 26, where I'm starting to realise things and change things in your personality that I don't really like, and things that I've picked up from certain environments and certain experiences that I've had. You had a massive moment similar to that, didn't you, where your personality changed? Was it through your faith? And how old was you? And do you want to talk us through what actually happened and what you was like previous to compared to now?
Well, previously, mate, I think the theme that I usually follow when I'm talking about this story is the fact that I grew up in Bramley, this little northern area of West Leeds. I was a mixed race kid in a predominantly white school, and that wasn't ever a problem. Actually, I had a lovely upbringing, loads of love, never any prejudice that I remember anyway. I had every opportunity going as far as I was, but you could tell that I'm obviously a little bit different. And so when you're a young kid, all you want to do is make friends. It's the most important thing. We're all social beings, and that's why this social isolation right now is difficult. I did a lot of work with Poverty Truth Commission Leeds about 2 years ago, and seeing how social isolation could be a killer. So when we're young, we want to make friends, and I was, despite the fact that I was born on 1st of August, which I keep reiterating is Yorkshire Day, mate, Mr. Yorkshire, more of a Yorkshireman than Dickie Bird. That meant I was youngest in the year, but I was always really big and sporty and athletic, and I quickly realised that sport was going to be the vehicle on which I would live my life, make new friends, and also get back at your enemies. You'll know, Brad, when you're out on that training field and you've got a bit of a confrontation, shall we say, with somebody. Rugby league's a great game to be able to get back over the top of somebody, so it's a great alpha male, or it's a great women's sport for anybody in any walk of life. But so long-winded way of saying I was quite a cantankerous kid trying to get my next win because I linked it to making friends. Yeah. So quite morally or ethically unguided. Listen, I never did all legal growing up, and I think I had a wonderful moral upbringing. My family was very proud about our name and our representation. But when Ali Lau-TT came in 2004, it was pretty obvious that he was a little bit different, and it was all down to his faith. He was a Christian and made no secret of that fact, and I'd always believed in God. I believed in an all-present, omnipotent, omniscient power that sort of surrounded everything, the whole universe, and brought it to being. But I didn't understand what that meant theologically. And to cut a very long story short, a book of 66 books written over 1,500 years by about 35 different authors called the Bible. It's all about one person called Jesus. So I don't know, TT took me to church, and to be honest with you, at first, mate, I thought it was going to be full of people like Ned Flanders out of Simpsons, a little bit odd and wearing sandals and socks and cardigans, and there's one or two of them. But actually, what I found, mate, was like it was a very diverse group of people from all nationalities all over the world who had one faith in God, in Jesus, and that, you know, it knocked off those proverbial scales on the road to Damascus, to quote the Apostle Paul, and it just changed my heart and mind as to thinking that rather than living for silverware and notoriety and money and fame and all the trappings that professional sport can get you into, it was all about building treasure in heaven and trying to be the best version of myself to glorify God, who ultimately created me. So that changed my whole heart and mindset, Brad. And you know, it become less about winning and more about people and relationships and love, ultimately.
Yeah. So do you think you created, because obviously still a winner, still a born winner, it's so apparent that is you. So do you just think you got your balance and more of a focus on what what that was all about? Yeah.
I hate losing, mate. I love winning. It's a double-edged sword. I reckon the stick is more powerful than the carrot, but both of them together are more powerful than either on their own. And I'm still of nature somebody who loves to compete, somebody who loves to win, and that's one of the challenges now that I'm retired. So how do I feel that hole, that gratification? Well, you know, again, you know, any Christians listening to this now, that hole is filled with Christ and this knowing of an eternal life. So it's less about seasons and however long I live. I'm fortunate to bless this planet for, but more about building treasure in heaven. What does that look like? I'm not 100% sure. I've got some metaphorical, metaphysical ideas from what I've read. But certainly, rather than just being a bulldozer, trying to step over people and everything and everyone to get the next win, it was more about going on a journey and getting that gratification and satisfaction from seeing some of my generation, like Maguire and Sinfield and Burrow and Peacock and Luluai and all these guys, whatever gift they've been given, and I believe we've all got a gift, man. Everybody in the world is unique and something different about them that nobody else has got. And seeing a group of really special, talented players give their gift, not for themselves, but for the person next to them on a field, was why I ultimately believe we were a very successful generation of players. But in the end, entropy sets in, mate. You can never argue against laws of physics and thermodynamics, and we all get old, degrade, and start to fade away and we move on.
It's interesting what you said about you was going to live the vehicle that you was going to live your life as sport. Now that created the biggest change in your life by the environment that you put yourself in later on through someone who you met. And that's how I look at where I'm going from, the change I'm going through. It's nowhere near as deep as what you're speaking about and as in depth, and you seem like you've nailed it and really educated on it. It's just I'm going through experiences. But my change from Warrington to Leeds was a massive part of my life, never mind my career. I just met different people. You for one, for example, Stevie Ward, Ryan Hall. It became okay to be different, whereas my previous environment, it was you had to blend in. And it's just interesting you say you sat there on this vehicle life that you were going to do it through sport, and that's through that vehicle it's changed you by someone that you've met, and how important rugby has been in your life.
Well, it's funny, I listened to your Rich Agar Dogcast, and you talked about a moment where you blasted ball into the side of Tony Smith's head, and I quickly realised, mate, it's gonna be hard to get anywhere unless you're doing exactly what those coaching people want. And we're fortunate, Brad, that, and I always tell this to young kids: don't be scared of being yourself and making mistakes. You know, there's that Dr. Zeus quote there about being yourself. He wrote children's books that were all tailored around individuals being themselves, and if you don't be yourself and go out and make mistakes, you can never thrive and grow. If you are you, that's truer than true. There's no one alive that's youer than you. I believe that's a quote. So go and be yourself, make mistakes, and then you will be adjusted, and you will forge out a path down which you know you can ultimately thrive. But as well, within that, you've got to have a group of people who are willing to accept diversity and create a universal environment. And you know, I always talked about fish tanks. I've got a big pond. Last couple of days I've been spending my time digging this garden up, trying to find a leaky earth, because it kept triggering the kept tripping the RCD, and I got it found. But you know, different fish from all over the world live in different habitats and environments, and if you want each fish to thrive and grow a bit best version, colourful version of itself, you've got to recreate that environment. So, you know, if you want to get a cichlid from South Africa, you can't go in a tank with a piranha from South America because they're living, one's alkaline, one's more acidic. But and I always talked about myself being quite a goldfish because I'm a very unfussy. I'll live in anybody's tank, mate. I'm not that bothered. I'm a very unfussy guy. I've never been that skillful, strong or fast, just very industrious and hardworking. But when you create a universal environment, whether it be a school, a workplace, you know, a rugby team, where people can come and give what they are, then that for me is what life's all about. And that's what creates success, because life is diversity. It's diverse.
Yeah. Right, let's talk about two events that I've been fortunate to be a part of in the career of you and Jamie Jones, and how good it was. Your last try at Edinburgh, I was a part of that. I came up with the play, and I think that's probably the only time where I've done a play and I've actually thought how happy I am to be a part of that for someone else and not myself. Because normally if you set a try up or if you come up with a big play, you think, oh, I'm buzzing it, I've done that for my team. But most of all, you're buzzing that you've done something good yourself. But I was just made up seeing your reaction and watching it back on video of how good that was. That your last try at Edinburgh on the last night that we had against Warrington, a great win after a difficult season for you personally and us as a team. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, mate. I mean, the last two games were two of the most memorable games of my career. It was really difficult, mate. It was horrendous that last 12 months because I talked about the fact that I've always been quite industrious, and for 22 years made a lot of sacrifices to stay on that path, if you like, to try and perform at that level. And I missed a lot of game time in my final year for a multitude of reasons, and by back end of it, I struggled to get in it team. So to sort of be given an opportunity by chance, really, because Adam Cuthbertson, I think, was due to play and he fell sick. And I remember, I think I was coming out of Nando's or getting some tyres changed, and Rich rang me up, so Jonesy, he said, you haven't had 2 or 3 pints, have you? I'm not like every drink anyway. I said, no, why? So his cuff pull out, you come and play. So I'm like, yes. And I thought, I've got 2 games left here, let's just have a crack and have a dig and just run around, make me tackles, make me drives. But, you know, 421 games and novelty never wore off playing for Leeds. I love the club. You know, I'm cut me in half, and I'm blue and amber, always will be. And a massive honour to have only ever played for Stanley and Leeds. And we all know as a forward how important and good it is to score a try, get excited. And when I seen you put that kick in, I knew there's a chance, because Niall Evalds always plugs on that far side of the sticks, doesn't it? And you've kicked it round, mate. And when you replay it, it must be the slowest try of all time. I think everybody's like scratching their head going, is anybody going to chase this? And I'm probably the slowest player at the team. And I ran round 2 posts and then still got to the ball before Niall Evalds did. And I've got a picture up there in my last try. And mate, I look old. When I think back to making my debut as a 17-year-old back in 99 to now, you know, wow, what a journey, and how privileged I want to play all those years, 20 years. But mate, I appreciate it, and it's one of those memories, isn't it, narratives that I'll never forget, that Brad Dwyer set me up for my final try. And I just want to point out, mate, as well, I think it's really important. Like the year before, you know, he talked about some difficulties, and he talked about your journey coming to Leeds, and I don't know, some of the mistakes that you've since, I don't know, adjusted and changed your personality. There was times when me and you locked horns quite a bit, because I guess one of my biggest errors was believing that, you know, that next generation was gonna almost be a facsimile of the previous one, and it was a big error on my part, because you're different. You're different to Matt Diskin. You know, you're different to Danny Baderius and all other nines that I've played with over years. And I struggled to accept a lot of that. But by the end, by that last try, mate, I'd accepted it, and thankfully it manifested in a really nice moment.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I'm fortunate to be a part of that. Another moment that I don't think I'll ever forget, I'm sure you won't, is the Bradford, the testimonial game. That was created so special, obviously, because it's for Rob as well as having the Bradford Leeds derby back. But I don't think I'll have ever played in a game. You played in many more big games than me, Jonesy, so you'll know more than me. But I played in some pretty big. Played at Wembley and stuff like that. Edinburgh itself is a special place to play, but that was some night.
Mate, there's 2 moments in my career that sort of define symbolically as a picture what that group and generation of players were like. One of them being 2015 when I tore my quad and I couldn't play in the first final in 19, and Kev took me up there to lift the trophy there in the Challenge Cup final. That was just symbolic of who Kev is and the captain, the leader that he's been, and ultimate friend. And then the most important one was walking in the changing rooms that are set up at the side of the first team ones, because what people have got to remember is that was a proper game, that was a functional game for us to go play, part of our season preparation. And I walked in there and seeing Burrow, Peacock, Sinfield, Bailey, Senior, and you're like, wow. Because when the way I described it, and I described it to Rob, was like, when you're a kid at school and you're playing out and you go for dinner, and there's might be 1,000 kids at playgrounds, but when you realise you can't see anybody from your class, you're thinking, oh, I'm in the wrong place here. Yeah. I'm not quite in the right place. I'm in the right school, I'm in the right area, but I'm not in the right place because my classmates have gone in. And when I seen that, I just want to realise that my classmates have gone. And getting in that kit, and there's a photograph now at End of Tunnel. It was like almost like that moment in Titanic, you know, when Jack and Rose are at the top of the stairs and everybody that they've loved and been a part of all come back. That was what that moment. And listen, like Kevin never forsook me in 2015, again, that was another symbol of how, you know, in a really difficult time with Rob Burrow, being diagnosed with motor neuron, I will never leave him. He'll always be a part of us. We'll always be a part of him. And to be able to run out and play with him and Kev that one last time, and JP and Kylie, who can't help himself, flipping, knocking everybody's head off, cutting JP up to bits, as well as seeing what a Leeds Bradford derby looked like for that generation who weren't around, you know, you Leeds fans, you know, and seeing how powerful that is, how much we need Bradford, and for me, selfishly, to play with Kev one more time, because, you know, my last game with him was being carried off in a semi-final, so lots of reasons why that was the most special game of my career.
And I suppose one way is I definitely look at this way. I don't realise how good at things are in the moment. So some good moments I've had, or just for example, playing on a Friday night at Headingley, you're so focused on what you've got to do as a job, you don't realise how lucky and how fortunate you are to have that. And I suppose if I was in that situation with you, I'd look at that, generate that team that you had, and then it's one of them where you look back, how good was that? How good was it to play in that team? And then obviously to get one more opportunity at the back end of your career to actually do it and appreciate it, because you've done all them years and think, oh, it's changing now, it's not quite the same as it was, but here we go, I've got one last crack at it and I can enjoy it as well.
Mate, I think there's a couple of things just to reiterate there. We had a very unique bunch of guys who grew up supporting Leeds. Like Ellery Hanley was like Kev's idol growing up, and even Rob being a cast lad supporting Leeds. Magsy is like service crew Leeds, and he's mad Leeds. Big gig tonight over there. And we were really fortunate to come through at the same time, but it didn't happen overnight, mate. And we go back to this idea of being yourself and making mistakes. You know, we come through in sort of 99, 2000, 2004 before we won any trophies, and then probably 2007 before we had any real sustained success. So it's these 10,000 plus hours of repetition and getting to know one another and building that trust and repertoire that ultimately breeds and brings about success. And it's important. And, you know, when you mentioned Tony Smith there, we'll go back to Tony Smith. I remember when I was, again, this really boisterous lad and struggled to concentrate, head all over the place, you know, trains would come past Abbeyfields and I'd be counting how many trucks went back at train. And Tony Smith one day, he looked at me and he says, if you don't stop being distracted by what's going on, you'll not get in this team. And he says, when I'm speaking, give me your eyes. And he used to always talk about giving me your eyes. And mate, it don't matter who I'm talking to now in life, right? It don't matter whether it's my dentist, the post office, whoever. I'm always staring down barrel of their eyes, because it's so important that when somebody's giving you some information and some grace, that you give them at least your attention and focus. So just one thing that changed me.
He did the same thing. It was similar. It worked for information, but you know, Tony comes around every morning and he'll shake your hand every morning when he says, "How you doing?" And he pulled me one morning, and I'd been there a while, so it wasn't as if I was just new in and he put me on my toes. I'd been there a while, and he says, "You never look at me when I say hello to you. Like you always move your head." And he said, "From now on," and I turned around, you know what I'm like? I said, "Do you want to?" I said, "Don't give me this." I said, "I'm getting it at home now with ex-missus." I said, "She's on at me all the time. You never look at me in the eye." And that I now know back that was from awkwardness and then fear of embarrassment and stuff like that. That related back to my birthmark and something.
Right.
He made me change. So every morning he said, right, from now on, we're going to shake. And it got to a point where it was like we was being funny with each other and we'd stare at each other for 10 seconds in the eye. And then I was picking Tony up. I say, oh, you've not even looked at me. You just said, all right. So he did similar with me. And that must have been 10 years on, do you reckon?
Yeah, it will be easy.
Yeah.
Mate, I don't want to burn all your time up here. Just really quickly, there's a mate of mine who sadly passed away in 2011, and he used to reference this, and he used to call it the vapor trail. And the reason being, back in 1986, he was a 22-stone fireman, and the boss of the fire station, the depot, come out and said, look, our job is to save lives. We need to be in physical and peak condition to be able to do that, and you're not, mate. And if you don't sort yourself out, I'm gonna have to let you go. And as he's walked out of the fire station, he looked up and he's seen the vapor trail of an aeroplane going overhead, and he thought, I don't know where that plane's going or what the destination is, but I'd rather be on that plane than the destination that my life's going in right now. And he made a conscious change there and then, right, to make some different decisions in his life. And to cut a long story short, he did Marathon des Sables, he did Ironman, he climbed Kilimanjaro, lost loads of weight, great athlete. And he'd say that everything we say and do in life leaves a vapor trail. And we don't even know the people on the aeroplane didn't know they were leaving a vapor trail. They didn't know that they affected Clive Gott back in 1986. But every single day since then, he knew that everything he said and he did would have an influence on somebody else. So you've got 4 kids around you, you've got a wife around you, you've got 30 blokes on a Monday morning who are a bit apathetic about having had a long weekend off. Everything you say and do, be mindful that you're leaving a vapor trail. So then you've got to ask yourself, what vapor trail are you leaving? Are you being a great example for everybody around you so that they're influenced in a positive way? And the second thing, especially for young kids, is what vapor trail are you following? You know, are the people who you're admiring conducive to where you want to be in life and what you want to achieve and do? So I always refer back to that vapor trail and trying to be a positive influence on everything that you do and say.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Let's get on to the last Mad Monday that we had. Now, just before we talk about the last Mad Monday, it was obviously there's a lot of hype around it was coming to the end for you that year. We'd had a struggle that year, and we weren't really playing for much. We got safe more or less, and then it was all about you really, and not from your point of view. It was just everyone was trying to make it special for you, like it should have been. And I remember we had a night out in Leeds, and you rocked up on the night out. I think we just went for. I think I went watching Ed Sheeran or something, so I went missing halfway through the night. And then I came back out, and you were still out, and I was like, "This is because you don't normally drink. You don't drink much anyway." And it's not regular. So I thought it was a surprise. I think that was probably the first proper night out that I'd had with you in 2 years. Yeah. Like, what's Jonesy? And I just looked back at that and I just thought, you must have been doing it because you was coming to an end with your career and you thought, I want to experience this one more time. Is that what it was?
A little bit. And I think a bit, the main bit was just the time with the lads.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, you know, lads spend time in environments that always... the sort of environments I spend my time in, and I'll go back to the goldfish analogy. So as a goldfish, like I don't want to be in a piranha tank, I don't want to be in a marine tank because it's not where I usually live. But occasionally, if you want to understand people to their full potential, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to go meet them in their own habitat, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I wanted to go and like you said, it was coming to the back end as well, and historically there was a nostalgic side of the fact that sort of Mad Monday at back end of the season is an influential place, and you know, again biblically, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I'm a Christian, he's a Christian guy. You know, it's not about being religious, it's about love and faith in, or who you've got your faith in. So, you know, Jesus' first miracle was turning water into a wine, according to the Gospel of John. At a wedding, you know, another place where people come together and celebrate the joining of two individuals. So I thought it was a really important time to come and spend a bit of time with them. As you mentioned, Mad Monday, I wanted it to be at my house because it's my last one. And mate, I wish it never ended. I wish we were still there now. We did 12 hours of it, and my missus in the end says, neighbours are going to go mad. But I was gutted. I still remember looking at Rob Louis thinking, I don't want you to go. No, you don't want you to go.
It's just a great person, isn't it? Just happy.
I wonder if Phil will play a video at the end of this.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Is get some sort of footage of what we can put on, because obviously there's some footage that we can't put on. But that Mad Monday, I remember from my point of view, I've done Dublin for Mad Monday for the past 3-4 years with Warrington, and then we brought that to Leeds, and a few jumped on that. And the first year we did Dublin, how good was it? Everyone went. But this year it was like we'd not done really well. No one knew what we was doing, and then we was on the way back after an away trip and said, right, no one knows what we're doing. We knew we had a day for you in the at your garden, and you was going to put a bit of a do on for us. But we said, right, let's do Dublin, and then we'll come back to Jonesy's. And Dublin's a great place, obviously, to have a beer. Most people know. But I thought, oh, that's going to be a bit stale at Jonesy's. We're going to go Friday night after the game round Leeds, fly early Saturday morning to Dublin, land back Sunday morning from Dublin after 2 days on the booze, then go to Jonesy's. And what you'll think about Mad Monday is it's okay on the Saturday, it's the Sunday and the Monday when it gets a bit stale. There's not many people about, and it's just you lot after 3 days. You start, and it gets a bit stale, sat in one place, and there's not much going on. But that was the best day, and probably one of the best days I've had on a Mad Monday, mate. It was just class.
And I really appreciate hearing that, mate, especially from yourself, because that's always the fear, that everybody's going to come and be a bit lethargic and apathetic. Yeah. But they were great, and Alex Simmons says this a lot. It's the people that make the party, and it is. I've been in environments where, mate, you can be sat in a corner with flies crawling all over your head, and if you've got the right people around you saying and doing the right things, mate, you have the biggest laugh. I remember, used to make the team songs when I used to coach Stanley. They met Bar Black Sheep sound awesome, and after a win, right, the roof would blow off. And it's all about just getting together and buying into an idea. And it's interesting, because we were supposed to do it on the Saturday, if you remember.
Yeah.
But lads wanted to go to Dublin, so we can't really go to Dublin on a Sunday, so we'll have to do it the other way around.
Yeah.
And again, I just let go and went, listen, boys, I'll buy into your idea, because it takes less energy for me to buy into yours and persuade you to do it on a Saturday. Yeah. Thankfully, thanks to people like yourself, got dressed up as Del Boy, and we had a bit of fun, mate. And we had the Jamaican bobsleigh team here as well.
Yeah, the best moment I remember was around the fire at night when it was dark.
Yeah.
We're all singing. It was class, mate, and I'm sure you enjoyed, even though you was a bit anxious about the neighbours and stuff like that. We were trying to get a few boys naked at one point. We weren't allowed, so we got them in the boxes and we got them through the fish pond, didn't we?
Got them through the fish pond, over the fire. I made a bit of an assault course. Can't get naked round here, Bromley, get me shot. But one of my favourite bits was Adam Cuthbertson at the end, when he's done to say goodbye. And at the time, it was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And then the next day, you watch it back and like, ooh. Wow. Interesting that, but good fun, mate.
It was. Just to finish off, pal, like you say, people hearing you speak now, you've got so much, you do so much. You've got a bit of acting going on. You've got your faith and stuff like that. You've got your rugby AM going on. You've done a bit of coaching in the past. And you've more or less, you've got a finger in every pie. Let's just say that. And when you finished playing, I was like, what are you going to do? And you didn't really know yourself, did you? You were just going to wing it. And you had your public speaking, that you're great at, obviously. But there's one thing that's took over most, really, isn't there? And that's the coaching. Has that surprised you, and how are you finding it?
No, it didn't surprise me, because I coached for about, a lot of people forget, I coached for about 10 years, between sort of 18 and 28 years old.
Yeah.
And there was one period before I had kids where I was coaching literally every night a week. So I was doing Stanley Open Age, Leeds City College, scholarship when Wardy and Brad Singleton and them come to Leeds, Sutty. I coached them in under 16s. I was doing it regularly, then I stopped to start doing a bit more community work and foundation. And for me, I know it's a cliche, people say coaching is the next best thing to playing. And it is, because you're around the people. And I think, whoever's listening to this might have got an understanding that, for me, it's always been about the people. From being 4 years old, trying to get the win. It wasn't about the winning, it was about making friends.
Yeah,
that was the overarching theme. And so when you're around the players, trying to give back, there's two things. One, you're building and keeping and maintaining relationships. Two, you're being really competitive. And third, I'll add a third, you're storytelling. So you mentioned acting there. It's one more, the storytelling. After dinner speaking, that's storytelling. Rugby aim, try to showcase the personalities within the game. The Brad Dwyers of the world, that's storytelling. And all these stories, I think life's a narrative. Human beings, the only animals on planet that tell each other stories. Sorry, my lad's playing with wrong shaped ball here. And stories entertain, educate, and inspire us. That's always the first thing that I talk about when I'm opening up, because it's true. And this is why people are going to struggle in isolation, because they're not going to have the experience of a narrative of a story that'll get them through life. So to answer your question, mate, I've loved it, and ultimately it gives me an opportunity to serve Leeds. And in this short period of time, I guess if he was to go right into detail, Rich Agar's been unbelievable. What he doesn't know about rugby league is not worth knowing. And as far as being a tactician or a strategist goes, he's just mind blowing. Like he talks about things and looks at the game in a way I never even thought about thinking. Yeah. And it's beautiful, because I'm right at the other end of the spectrum. For me, it's more about the people and the defence. So all I'm doing at the minute, Brad, is asking the players, well, this is how we've defended for the last 4 years, probably since Michael Maguire come to Wigan. And the whole league, the whole world stopped tackling and started wrestling. Yeah. And everybody became a Conor McGregor instead of a defender. And can we go back to some of what we used to do? Because I think the art of tackling has all but disappeared, bar a few players like yourself who physically, because of your height, yourself and James Donaldson, you're short guys, so you naturally, it lends itself to you having a great tackle technique, and 100%. You will tackle low, but majority of forwards now just want to barge into people and cuddle them to the floor. And I'm just saying, this is a different way of doing it, and as you might have seen, you have seen, I try and throw some quirky ideas at you without it making much sense at the time. But, we started off with 5 games, mate. I mean, we haven't done so bad.
Yeah, we're doing all right, mate, 100%. And like you said, them quirky ideas bring a bit of entertainment to the Monday morning, put it that way. A bit different to just bish and bash on that wrestling mat. Right, not many people call me Brad. I don't think you've ever called me Brad, so I don't know why that's been coming out in this podcast, mate.
Mate, it's a professional setup. This is our professional dialogue here. Yeah, it's interesting. You're listening to you talk with Connie and that sort of Wiganese versus Tongan dialect, and how hard it was when you had you there talking Wigan. Nobody understood what you're talking about, especially Brian McDermott in meetings like, what's somebody translate? Nobody can understand what I'm talking about half the time. And then you've got Connie, and it was just a mishmash of what's going on here. Ineffable words.
Brian Matt once, remember that video where I'd first come to Leeds? And I started saying something, and he said, "Does anyone know what he's saying here?" And then he left the video room. And then the next video came back with this clip. I forget what the clip was. It was just some comedy skit that it was with some guy talking gibberish. Does anyone know what Dog's talking about? Absolutely haven't been. I'd just come.
No, it's funny, mate, and I love listening to that side, and I'm chuffed to bits that you're doing what you're doing, because I won't feed it ducks, and it's not big enough to put bins out, and all the rest of it that you come out with, it's gold. What's that one about chip pan?
We can't say that one. Can't say that one. We can't say that one. Behave, Jonesy. Can't get me in trouble. I'm not even got started. Who would have thought it, mate? A Yorkshireman and a Lancashireman would have been getting on over a podcast there. He was outstanding.
Rugby league's the winner, mate. League's the winner.
Exactly. Cheers for that, mate. Legend.
Anytime. God bless you. Keep smiling. Stay safe.
Wise words. See you later, pal.
Contigo vivere, tutti volare e sparare.
Nós mamãe candana. Come, vamos Oh, shaka shoo. You did it, Derek! I made a kite fly! Brennan, you're the best big brother ever!
Formats, the ones that match the seed, kind of.
I traveled 500 miles to give you my seed!
Lumberjack!
Oh!